Hello and good morning, everybody. I hope you can all hear me, and I can see we still have a few people coming in to this HubSpot user group, but I think we should get started as we kind of have a lot to present and discuss today, just basically because the subject is AI. So welcome to you all. We will dive into HubSpot's AI tools, which goes under the name of Breeze, and we'll try to give you the best overview we can give you at the current situation with all those tools. So first of all, let me present myself. I'm Lars, and I am a senior advisor here at Helium B2B. We are a HubSpot Diamond agency. I've been working with HubSpot for, wow, more than 11 years. And my co-host of today, basically more or less the same, Lotte, if you want
Yeah.
yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lotte, and I'm the co-founder here at Helium B2B. I haven't worked with HubSpot for 11 years, but at least I worked with it for 9 years, and I'm very excited to co-host this session with Lars today because we have a lot of exciting AI stuff to cover and also demo for you guys. And just want to mention very quick that we have enabled both the chat and the Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout the session, please type them in, and I will make sure to ask Lars the questions as well if we're not covering them in the session.
That's cool. Thank you, Lotte. And yes, please join as much as you can with your subjects, because this is an ever evolving area at the moment, basically day by day. Lotte, maybe you should try to set the scene. Well, we had some new numbers from HubSpot a couple of weeks ago that you presented in Copenhagen, and just to get us off.
Yeah, so HubSpot recently, I think it was actually last week, launched their 2025 State of Marketing report. And of course, they're covering a lot of AI inside this report. So some of the most exciting stuff, thinking about what HubSpot is saying themselves, is that we need to get into the mindset of the new tech and the new AI, and we should not be afraid to move fast because we risk getting left behind. But also, AI is not going in, and taking away all our jobs. We need to think of AI as a way that we can automate a lot of our processes, which will leave us way more time to do our craft. So that is something that we're going to show you today as well. But one of the most important findings in State of Marketing 2025 is that we need to personalize. So 2025 is really about content creativity and personalization. And as you can see down below on the chart, HubSpot is saying that we are moving towards scaling attention way more than scaling traffic. So it's not about the vast majority of traffic anymore. It's more about scaling the attention of your audience and really be creative around your personalization as well.
Cool. Thank you for that. With that as a kind of a goalkeeper and goal setter for this session, let's try to dive in what Breeze actually is. And wow, that changes also day by day. When we started doing this session, we said, okay, 45 minutes, that's fine. We can easily cover that. But this also as a product is ever evolving. So let's dive into it. We try to put it into different sections so we can get kind of an idea of what is going on here. First of all, what is Breeze? Well, Breeze is kind of the brand name of all AI within HubSpot. That's the easy part, right? So HubSpot has tried to brand all the different features, all the different scenarios where you use AI or the system uses AI that is under this brand name. So you will see that basically all over the platform today. If we should try to segment these features into different segments, this is our best try at the moment. We have Breeze Copilot, we have Breeze Agents, AI agents, we have Breeze Intelligence down at the right, which is data enrichment features, and then we on the left on the lower part has kind of everything else, because it is used very much all over the platform. So we'll try to expand. We dive into this and try to give you an idea of what we see here. So let's start with Copilot. That's kind of the place, at least for me, that where you feel comfortable now after ChatGPT happened in the world a couple of years ago. So we kind of all used to this way of working. And HubSpot has a Copilot within the CRM platform. So just to give you a very, very quick example of that, we can dive into a platform here. And if you want to go into using Copilot, if you don't have already, this is the safe place to go. You can always at any time go in and click on Copilot up here. And as you can see, you can now start to do a chat with the Copilot. That can be on anything. And I would definitely recommend that you click on see more prompts when you get the time, and try to see how many different ways you can actually activate the Copilot, the discussion part of it. So you can ask it how many deals have this and that person created, as an example. You can add a company, you can add a contact, you can even create images from here. If that is a thing that is interesting for you, you can do a prompt for that. So we're not going to use a lot of time on this. That is at least 2 hours for itself, but just so you have an idea of how you can always access the Copilot up here. But it's also spread all over the platform. So if we have this person here, you can see we always have this summarize feature. I should say only if I activated AI. I think that's important, just to calm down and say, hey, we are actually in a situations where AI, we need to discuss it compliance-wise, privacy-wise, and GDPR-wise, stuff like that. Very important. And we will dive in a little on that subject in the last part of this session. So in this platform, it's activated. So I can click here, and you can see immediately the Copilot will give me quick information on this contact, who he is, when we last contacted, what is the subject we're working on at the moment. So you can very, very fast get an idea of what is the actual current situation with this contact or this company.
No more scrolling back and forth in the contact or company timeline, which is very nice.
Yeah. And I think that is one of the, I fully agree, that's one of the biggest advantages of AI on this part, on the Copilot. We have to go to all the objects down here or up here. Now we can actually combine information via the AI platform. That's really, really a strong feature inside the platform. And where you can also see HubSpot is investing a lot of money in making this happen. So that's absolutely right. So let's go to the next part of it. See, now I'll let you decide on when we should, or Lotte, if we should dive into any questions. I can see Mikkel already has some.
Yeah, just a quick one. So Mikkel is asking if Copilot still based exclusively of OpenAI. Yesterday, Damesh was sharing a post about DeepSeek. Do you know if they have plans to dip their toes in that, since it's open source? So it could make sense if the quality is good enough.
Mikkel, I would like to take that at the last part when we talk about privacy and compliance. As you know, DeepSeek is also one of the first Chinese AI systems. HubSpot is using a lot of different systems, and I'll show you how you can recognize that later in the system. So I hope that's okay. But very, very important. He is playing with a lot of stuff if you follow him on LinkedIn. Let's move on to the next section. Breeze agents. Breeze agents are, yes, AI agents. So to set the scene on this, Lotte, I think it's a good idea that we also dive into some of the numbers and interesting findings from the HubSpot report of 2025.
So again, when looking back at the State of Marketing 2025 from HubSpot, which was just launched, they asked if B2B and B2C companies have seen, an impact on their web traffic since, a lot of customers and prospects started using AI to get their answers in the search engines. As you can see, half has seen an increase and half says it stays the same. So I think it's going to be very interesting here in 2025 to see what will actually happen if you don't follow along and optimize your website and your SEO strategy for generative AI. As you can see as well, 90% of marketeers plan to build an SEO strategy for generative AI here in 2025. I actually just talked to a friend of mine a week ago, and they told me that they got their first paying customer from a SEO for AI. And so things are definitely happening, and millennials, Gen Z, and so forth, they are asking ChatGPT. They are not going just to Google and Bing. So we also need to think about how can we actually optimize towards AI search, but especially also voice search. Yeah. And if we look into how we are using AI, I don't think it's surprising that 43% is using AI for content creation. But what I think is interesting is the 35% and 34% that are using it for data analysis and research. This is where I think we will see a peak in the next few years, and also especially with the agents and the AI inside of HubSpot. You can really do a lot of data analysis and a lot of research, so you don't have to spend hours doing desktop research through your CRM. So there is a lot of really great things to gain here as well. And just as a quick last insight, if you take the next slide, please. HubSpot just launched their AI search grader. So you can also, if you want to see how optimized is my website for AI search, you can use their AI search grader. You can put in your information and it will send you it will tell you how far along are you, but they will also send you an extensive list of things that you can implement to really be part of the new SEO strategy optimized towards AI.
It's actually a great tool and fun to play with and get some understanding on your current situation. There's a lot to learn from it. Thank you, Lotte. Let's move on the subject of the agents, which is kind of a favorite for me, to be honest, because agents, in my eyes, is really a great tool for having AI doing a specific task for you. We have done that also both internally, but also for together with some of our customers, where you put in a system that is in your process doing a specific kind of work. And content creation is a great example of that, as Lotte just mentioned from the report from HubSpot, having AI helping you doing content. But you could also have it do for salespeople doing a research of prospect companies. You could, in customer success, use it to get an idea of the sentiment of a customer in a current ticket situation if they have a problem. So you can definitely get a lot of help from AI agents in this aspect. And that is what HubSpot is trying to build inside the platform. At this very moment, in different areas of the platform and with different licenses. We're not going a lot into that today, just to give you an idea of all the possibilities. We have 4 social media agents. We have a content agent, we have a prospecting agent in sales, and we have a customer agent in customer success. The first 2 in marketing. So basically, it can help you doing social media. It can help you doing content. And I'm sure there are going to be more here when we get further ahead, and let's see what's happening here. We're going to focus very quickly on the content agent, and we are going to focus on the customer success agent here today, just to give you an idea of what an agent is capable of. If you look at the content agent, well, it is producing content together with you. It can use your customer sentiment. It can use in your brand voice. It can help you doing SEO optimized blog posts, landing pages, case studies, stuff like that. And the more you play with it, the more you actually, that's at least what I feel, you get an idea, hey, this can actually be very, very helpful in your daily work. This example I'm showing here is basically doing a case study by just keying in information, and it will produce a page for your web page in the correct template, and basically are based on the information you give it from start. I'm just keying in Helium B2B here instead, just to be a little self-centered. Then you can ask it to put in we'll put in the name of the company that has agreed to do the case study together with us, and you may give it a lot more facts than I'm doing here at this very moment. So what was the case study about? What do you want to tell about? And what was the feature or the things you did that made this situation happening? Then you can go into telling the system what market is this centered for. You can select the specific customer in your CRM. You can select the specific ICP and what is the content language. And then you click, and it will suggest some titles to you. At first free. If they're not good enough, you can select some more, generate some more. And as it's also connected to SEMrush, you can get an idea of what is the likelihood of having good search traffic from this specific case study. Then you can, as you can do in a lot of other AI systems externally, upload some files, maybe the case study text, the approved text from the customer, and it will then generate the case study. It will basically just create the landing page or the web page that is for this specific case study. So now it's producing that, and it will, in a few seconds, give me the full page that I then can work on later. I think this is an amazing feature and gives you a lot of speed in some of the production parts that can actually be quite expensive time-wise. So that is the idea of the content agent. You have an AI agent that helps you produce content. I love this feature. And we have the customer agent. I'm sorry we're speeding so much up today, but we just have a lot. We want to give you an idea of the full scope of AI at this current moment inside HubSpot. So we have to be a little fast so we can cover as much as possible. If we look at the customer AI agent, that's a different subject, but it's basically trying to do the same thing. It will use the content within your CRM, your HubSpot CRM, by producing content that is fit for that specific situation here in customer success. And I think I can do that here if I just select over here, where you basically can build an agent that can be as a starting agent, as an example, for an AI chat bot that then can move over to a live person in a customer success department. We have seen that before in HubSpot. We have seen that in a lot of other systems. This one is the best I've seen inside HubSpot, and I think it's really, really promising. The basic idea is to connect it with content. As said, it could be the knowledge base you already have. I just keyed in a few pages here from our page in this example, but you can basically just select it here. And then you also get a lot of reporting, which also shows the purpose of this. We want to have an AI bot that is intelligent, that is performing in a way we like it, brand-wise, the way it's friendly, talking to customers. And so you get how many conversations was actually deflected from a human. I'm not sure I like that word, but that's the word you use in customer success at the moment for bots like this. So you get a lot of intelligence and reporting on that. You can then just simply connect it to an AI agent or a chatbot agent you already have, and then off you go. You can ask it, should it be professional, casual, empathic, all the style parameters you can put in, and how it should hand off to a human. So it's just to say that this is a kind of autonomous agent. It can work by itself. You can train it, as you can see here, and basically help it getting better and better. And the more content you give it, the better it will also perform, if it's good content, obviously. So I hope that gives you a quick idea of what the customer agent is there for. Really, really interesting stuff. And I think this is an area that is going to evolve a lot in, I would say, the coming month, actually, because you see a lot of agents that are working inside SDRs, inside sales, and more also into giving feed product information to the customers. That is more on the marketing side.
I would also say the past year and a half, HubSpot has really upped their game on the customer success side and service hub. So it's quite interesting to follow what this agent will evolve into and how we can really utilize that AI from a customer success perspective. This is one of the hubs they have developed a lot of new features in, and now we can solely implement this with a really great gut feeling, and really also have all the power that you usually have on Zendesk and other customer service platforms. I think HubSpot has really moved ahead the curve now, so it's very interesting to follow.
Yeah, I fully agree. A lot of new features are happening and concepts within the whole area of customer success. So I fully agree on that. You find these agents in different places. I think that's also important to mention, that you can see that you have the case studies I just did on the content part. You can also do podcasts. So if you have worked with the Notebook LM from Google, you have some idea of how you can actually do it based on your own content. That is also very, very interesting. And you find the customer agent at the customer success part of the platform. So without further ado, let's move on to the next section. And we couldn't find a good name for this one, to be honest. So we call it Breeze AI across hubs and CRM, because that is really what it is. Because what we see at the moment is that HubSpot utilizes and embed AI features within the platform in a lot of different places to help you to improve your work, to bring you basically better intelligence from the platform than what you can just do by static objects, standard calculations, and stuff like that. So we started making a list, and that's very quickly went not sour, but it would basically continue forever. First of all, HubSpot tries to show that where you have AI features with this small icon all over the platform, so you're also aware of it, that you're actually inside an AI feature. And as Mikkel openly asked here earlier in the session on the different systems, it is important that we know it, and in what situations what type of content are we actually feeding to an outside AI agent. Well, we come back to that a little later. But as said, we have a lot of different features that we can dive into. We can do engagement scoring. We actually showed that in the last user group where we worked on lead scoring, where you can make AI look at all the engagements the customers are doing and build an engagement scoring for you. We did that in the last session. So that's a great example of that. We can have data quality features working together with you, warning of data quality issues. That is working really, really well. In my opinion, we could do translation of emails and other content via DeepL, the best, as I understand it, the best translator in the AI world, and a lot of other stuff. We will focus on 2 here because of time, on the deal score, AI feature, and on forecasting inside sales. So just quickly showing those to you. If we look at deal score, you will, if you have activated AI and activated this feature, you will get this panel within the overview inside your deals. And what is really, really nice about this is that it gives you a trend of this deal. What is the likelihood for this to close? And I know HubSpot has asked these kind of features, likelihood to close, earlier during the years in the platform. My feeling of this is that it's actually quite indicative, and it also gives you a good idea of where you're missing progress. Here you have an indication it's 92 days since next step was updated. That could be an issue, even though it seems you're going to close that deal. That would be a great discussion point for a sales manager in this specific situation. But you can basically follow the deal's progress during time. What is the likelihood to close? Definitely, I would recommend to look into this in helping you in your daily sales work.
Yeah, and also asking, sorry, Lars, but also asking Copilot, throughout the sales cycle, what was the key indicators that we got closer to a decision-making process? As you can see here, when do we see the spikes and what happened when we saw the spikes? So it's also a very great idea to use Copilot here to get an understanding of where are we succeeding in our sales process, and maybe also where can we do it an even better job, right?
Yeah, I fully agree. And this is it's a simple example of what HubSpot is doing. If you combine those two, you will see a third version that is if you're on Google Meetings, you can actually get a prepare button inside your Google Calendar, where you get all the relevant, I'm not sure it's all, but a lot of relevant information on what should you prepare for this specific meeting. That is one of the newer features that is basically using the same information as you mentioned there, Lotte, within the Copilot. So that's why this one is important, that you get an idea of what is going on. Forecasting. Well, that is one of the subjects you can go on forever trying to forecast, and we can have a lot of meetings on that, I guess, in all the different sales departments that you guys are working in. But giving the best estimate of what is the likely deals won for this month or this quarter or this year. And HubSpot has now this feature of trying to give you an idea of what is the upper and what is the most likely result for that specific period. And you get it month by month when you activate this feature. And as I said, now you can see these buttons here as well. So you can predict outcome via AI, and it will give you kind of as you can see here, a limit. You will have an upper. You will also have a lower, as far as I remember, if you do it on the graph base, on the reporting base. But I'll have to be more safe on that. And this is just to show the model that this is a 0-0 sales pipeline. But just to give you an example that when you activate AI, which then is on this pane, you will now start to get forecasting automatically. So it gives you an idea of what you can do in the platform by getting these results and reports on what is actually happening. At the moment, the system based that on the last 3 months of deals you have in your system. You can't change that at the moment. That is the deal amount they are working on at the moment. So I think I had this one. I just generated that, but we don't have to do that because I just showed you. Let's move on. Any questions for this part on the 18th part?
No, you can just move on.
Fantastic. Let's move on to Breeze Intelligence, which is kind of the fourth pillar of Breeze at this very moment. Breeze Intelligence is HubSpot's data enrichment platform. I will put it that way. So it is a platform where you have data available on contacts and on companies. So you have a lot of properties already filled out in Breeze Intelligence on contacts. It can be their company, it can be their job title, it can be basically a lot of those things you can see on LinkedIn or on the company's website, and the same on the company side. So didn't we already have that? And yes, we did have that via the infamous or famous HubSpot Insights. HubSpot Insight has been a part of HubSpot since I can't even remember, Lotte. It seems to have been there basically always.
Yeah.
But the moment you created a company inside HubSpot, you automatically got the company name, the annual revenue,
Number of employees.
address often wrong, reception phone number often wrong, but anyway, you got a basic set of data that was kind of usable to get started. And most important, and this sounds very silly, you got the company name. So if you had the domain, you would also get the company name. When I need to do a quick power up for my camera, 2 secs.
Yeah, I can jump in here.
Thank you.
So I think what we have seen, and I think that was across a lot of portals, is that this has not really giving us the insights that we want, especially also looking at HubSpot really building out the lead scoring model, stuff like that. We need to make sure that we can actually trust in the data we get. So HubSpot did acquire Clearbit, which is what they have used to build out their new HubSpot Insights. So as you can see here, it's solely based on Clearbit now, and it has been built into the HubSpot platform. So now you can both get company and contact enrichment. You can get buyer intent, which is also a pretty new feature inside of HubSpot, where you can look across your domains, you can look across your customers, and you can really see what is the level of buyer intent, what are my good potential customers, and so forth. And then, of course, we also have the form shortening. I don't know if you want to put a few words on that, Lars, because you're quite excited about the form shortening as well.
Yeah, I think, sorry for that. That was a typical tech fault in 2025, apparently. Sorry for that. Yes, form shortening, I'll take it in a while because it will come in the slides in a moment, but you're right. I'm both excited about it, but also you have to really think about how you're using it. But if we go back to the Clearbit part, we have a big data set on contacts and contacts as said. But one of the issues in getting that data, also in the old Clearbit installation, if any of you have worked on that, was to get an idea, is there any data from my segment, my ICP, my target market? And that has been an issue for many. And HubSpot has actually done a very nice thing on that, where you can check what is the coverage for this specific contact or this specific company. You will not get the data, but it will show you if you have that information available inside Breeze Intelligence or not. So that is, I think that's a big help, that we get some better idea of what is the quality of the data for my specific market. But because that is very different from company to company, if that data is beneficial for your specific situation. But it will then give you a kind of a show here. You can see on the right side, what properties do we actually have content in. And so it gives you a good idea if Breeze Intelligence is beneficial for me. One thing you should be aware of is that The current HubSpot implementation of the Clearbit data they have now built in is not as big as the original set. So you need to be aware of that if you actually get the data you need for your specific situation. So that is one area that is important to cover. It is changing month by month, and basically you can follow it by looking into the data set here. I think it's also fair, Lotte, to say Breeze is not alone in this world. There are a lot of different data enrichment services around the world. Vino is an example. Clay is a new example of kind of a middleware that can give you data from a lot of different sources. So I think it's also too important to say that be aware of your use case, what makes sense for you.
Yeah, and also what is your target market, right? So, for example, Vino is very great in the Nordics, especially everything from employee count, scraping websites, revenue, looking into what are the different tools on the website, stuff like that. So if you want to build, your lead scoring or your engagement based on it, and you solely work in the Nordics, I would also recommend to take a look towards other platforms than just Breeze. Also because Breeze was built from a US perspective for a start, and that's also why when you sit in the Nordics, you work in the Nordics and also Europe, it will take a bit of time to get it solely up to speed. So again, be aware of your use case, get some test examples through different vendors before you choose and decide on your third-party enrichment. And also these also have seamless integrations to HubSpot, so it will not, it's not like you need to build custom integrations or anything. They have apps working directly within the platform as well.
Yeah, but that's definitely true. I fully agree.
Yeah.
This we should probably have in another user group session because there's a lot to cover here in this area.
Yeah.
The other part of Breeze Intelligence is buyer intent. Very popular wording in these times, I would say. As we also touched it in our last session on lead scoring, Lotte, where we talked a lot about implementing a scoring part for buyer intent as an important signal of what is going on. This part of buyer intent, or the meaning of buying intent inside HubSpot, is to know what high-fit accounts that are visiting your website and showing intent on specific website pages. So that could be your product pages, specific product pages. It could be a meeting booking page, a contact page, things in that style. And I would say the cool thing about this was also part of Clearbit. It was cool there, but I really like the interface in HubSpot. The way they are showing buyer intent based on your total accessible market. You have defined all the different ICPs and all that stuff. And then you can see what number of companies are actually visiting your website in the last 7 days or 14 days or 30 days, whatever you want to measure it on. And they visit you, but they have not been captured, meaning they are part of your CRM. So now I really like this compared to the old HubSpot prospects or an external tool that you integrate with HubSpot, because you have it integrated inside your target markets, your total accessible markets, all that very important things when you need to find out where you're successful. So this is really a great feature and a great implementation of that feature. It is based on that you then have reverse IP, like lead info or HubSpot prospect and tools like that. And then you can start to look at all the different companies that are actually visiting your website. That's of course nice. You can see the number of pages that have been visiting, and you can then start to get the buyer intent signal. So based on your setup or the AI suggestions, you get the intent signal here, and that you can use in your automation, creating the companies automatically, stuff like that, as an example. You also get a signal if it's already in your CRM. That's really, really nice. And you also get a signal if it's actually inside your target market. You get your direct link to their LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn Sales Navigator and in that style of sales motion, that is definitely an interesting thing to look into. Again, we're not going to go into a lot of details today, but we'll hopefully be able to do that in another session.
We have a question around if it's possible to show the data and how the data enrichment would work. I don't know if you can just put a few words on it.
Yes, the data enrichment works in basically 3 ways. I'm not capable of showing it on the platform I have available today, but you can do it automatically, where automatically means you set up Breeze Intelligence to always enrich your new companies and new contacts coming into the system. So you don't have to think, it's just enriched automatically. The other motion you have is that you can select a company or contact and then manually enrich it. And the third option is you can do it via workflow, and it will then enrich the record you have asked for. The reason for this is also pricing, because Breeze Intelligence is consumption priced, so it's based per enrichment.
Yeah.
So you also have to measure on what your need is.
Yeah. Be aware of the pricing models, right? So, and also think about your use case, because we have customers that have enabled it as an automatic setup, because we have built a very granular lead scoring based on customer engagement, customer fit, where we need to scrape
exactly
everything in terms of payment solutions on websites when they get a new lead, because that is very important for the lead scoring to see this is a tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 inbound lead. So again, based on your use case, then you will need to decide on, of course, which tool to use, but also the pricing model. It is, of course, more expensive to do it automated, because then you will get all your data enriched, but you can also, as Lars said, do it manually, or you can do it through workflow. So if you want to keep the price down, you can also say, we know these are very great leads on this list. Every time a new lead comes to this list, please enrich it through my workflow. Yeah.
I think it's let's move on. Yeah, so you have this option of the target markets, and now the fun part, Lotte, as you mentioned, the form shrinking, or whatever we should call it. This is basically an thing where you try to minimize the number of fields you have within your forms, kind of based on the normal finding that the less fields you have in your forms, the more conversions you will get. Test that in your own environment. It's not always true, but in general, it's said that you get a 4% improvement of conversion of your conversion rate compared to of not doing it. So let me give you an example. If you have the country already for a specific contact, and you have a country field inside your form, it will basically just remove it for that specific contact. So it's another way of using the form tools in. It's very, very simple to use. You turn it on, and then it works. That's both good and bad, in my opinion, in the current implementation, because it also makes it difficult to be very specific on what fields that are actually activated in form shorting or not. That is an ongoing discussion on how you can implement that. In the old Clearbit solution, you could actually select it field by field. But I think things are moving on in this field. I would say that the full Clearbit to HubSpot thing is still happening, as they show also with the HubSpot Insights issue with the company names not popping up in new platforms, which is now changed. So I think we will see a really, really great thing. You have to be careful on form shortening, as said, because it doesn't always make sense in your situation. But feel free to comment on that also after this session, where we can have a discussion on that. That could be really interesting. And as Lotte states in the chat, I can see that, yes, this is definitely in beta. I would say Clearbit is a mature data set, and the methods are mature, but it's also very region and target market specific, to be honest. And they are improving on that. Compliance. I think we need to just touch this as well before we end this session, because we are also in a situation, especially because we're in Europe, where we have to be very careful on what we're doing regarding privacy. So the next slide is basically what HubSpot says. HubSpot AI is rooted in trust, transparency, and accountability. I'm sure if you go into a compliance meeting, that will not help you. So we will try to direct you to some of the data and websites HubSpot is supplying to help you understand what they're doing, what platforms they're using. As you can see, here is an example. OpenAI is showing in a lot of different places, because they are kind of the base for a lot of the AI solutions inside HubSpot. You have some granularity, of course, of do people have access to the generative AI or not? Is the system allowed to use your CRM data? That can be an issue for some companies, depending on compliance or legal. So you, of course, need to go through this by yourself and with your own legal people to get a good feeling on this.
And I also think it's important to note that when you enable HubSpot AI features and you also enable it for CRM data, it's within the platform, but we would still recommend you to at least do a mention of it in your privacy policy, stuff like that, because it is quite an important part if you enable these features to also think about, is this something that we have stated in our legal documents for people visiting our website as well.
Sure. True. So just to give you some idea of good places to look at is these two. Behind HubSpotAI.com and of course the TrustHubSpot.com site that shows all the different security documentation from HubSpot. I like especially the one at the left, and if you look at inside it, first of all, it gives you an overview of how HubSpot is in general using AI. That is good information, but it's especially the cards here. I would point into your direction, as it's not only giving you the full feature list. We tried to do this today in 4 buckets, but you basically get an idea of all the different places AI is in place today in HubSpot. Not only that, if we look at, let's say, brand-wise, you can then open that card and you get information on the status of that product, where is data moved to, what are the external platform, so to speak. So in this case, it's OpenAI. So you have a very, very detailed, that's why it's transparent, I would say, idea of what is HubSpot doing in the different fields, and what different tools are they actually using in the different areas inside HubSpot. I really like this site because it gives you a good overview of the different systems they're using. And OpenAI is, as an example, US-based. So even though you have your data in Europe, you have to be aware of these very important details when we are talking external platforms, right? Any
Yeah.
comments, Lotte?
Yeah, so even though you're hosting your platform in Europe, to be compliant, you need to be aware that the AI is still not hosted in Europe when you're utilizing it on HubSpot. So there might be some things to look into from a DPO perspective. And also just to say on top of this, you can actually search the AI cards. So Mikkel, if you wanna, have a closer look at what is happening on the deep sec, you can also, search in here the next coming weeks to see if they actually start enabling it inside their products as well.
Yeah, very, very true. Um, and the other important side, of course, is the generic security documentation HubSpot is supplying. This is really a recommended site to uh, to direct your legal people to if they need information on the SOC 2 report that has been ever changing, the SOC 3, the same. Very important stuff in a lot of manufacturing, finance industries, and a lot of other industries as well, where this is really, really important. I can only recommend those two sites of what is going on at the moment. That is really what we wanted to do today. I think we nearly did it on time. If I hadn't had a battery failure on my camera, sorry for that. We can still stay for a few minutes, I guess, Lotte, but if there's any other questions, and if not, please ask them via email. Just contact us. You can do it via the user group. You can do it directly to us. I hope you have got some idea of what HubSpot is doing currently, and also feeling that a lot is going on, not only inside HubSpot, but also, as Mikkel suggested, also outside the platforms, definitely.
Oh, actually, there is one question here, Lars. So Rosina is saying we're actually planning to get breeze intelligence, and my role is more towards maintaining data hygiene. Therefore, I'm concerned about how accurate will the data be from data enrichment, and if we use it automatically, will it override the data provided by the contact through the form submission?
That is a fantastic question, because I fully agree that the data quality needs to be on top to do this. As far as remember at the moment, it will override. So HubSpot has tried to design the solution to be as easy to use as possible. So they will override the data. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's what the last thing when I looked at it. And I'm saying it like that because that is under discussion. Because in the but in the Clearbit solution, you could actually have both data sets. So you could put in the Clearbit data in one property and the original data in one, and then make an informed decision based on that,
Yeah.
Rosina. So I hope that answers a little. Main thing that is good on Breeze Intelligence is that you will see that the data is updated. Some data is updated daily, some is weekly, some is monthly, where HubSpot Insights, as an example, was yearly. So I think you need to test it on your own to get an idea, because my experience is at least that is very market specific.
Yeah, I would also recommend run some sample tests. Depending on your industry and your market, look into is there any other data providers you will need to run a sample test from. I don't know, especially also with Vino, you can do Vino properties, so they will be enriched in a separate property, and then you can, as Lars said, you can choose which one to use. Is it the contact one? Is it not? But you can also in the setup, decide, do we only want to enrich if the property is empty or not? And in that way, you can make sure that the contact form submission is always the one, that takes the priority. So again, there are some different ways that you can set it up, which will also make you more in control of the data hygiene. And when it comes to data hygiene, also, I don't know if you're working working on Operations Hub, but that's also a really great tool to make sure that you have data hygiene on point inside your portal. You can set up different rules based on when you want to duplicate, deduplicate, if you want to merge company card, contact card, stuff like that. So Operations Hub is really great for maintaining everything in terms of your data hygiene, but also a really great tool to have if you're enabling Breeze or another third-party data provider, just to make sure that you actually have the data hygiene on point.
Yes. And so there are different ways to do this quality-wise, and also ensure they get the data enrichment you want, and avoid those you don't want.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, that was the last question. And I just wanted to say we will share the recording, we will share the slides, so you will have everything. Yeah. So thank you for staying, and also thank you for staying even though we got a little we went a little over time. And hope you all have a great day.
Yeah, I wish you the same. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.